Okay, I'd like to call the Eureka Art and Culture Commission meeting to order on October 15th at 12:33. Roll call.
Commissioner Johnson,
Here.
Commissioner Topping Adams,
Here.
Commissioner Blockwelliver,
Here.
Commissioner Vielbig,
Here.
Commissioner Atkins,
Here.
and Commissioner Haar is absent today.
Okay, is Lori?
Sorry, Commissioner Goodman's absent too. He didn't put her name up here, so I didn't remember.
Okay, I thought, okay. Approval of minutes? Does anyone have any comments or additions?
Everything looks good to me. Do we need comment before that?
Okay,
Okay. I move to approve our last meeting minutes, which, oh, there it is, July 16th meeting minutes.
second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, approved. Old business, Artist of the Month program update. I guess that's Sarah?
Thank you. One moment. Wait. Oh, there we go. Beautiful. Hello, commissioners. So this item before you is a discussion of the Artist of the Month program. As you may remember, we've discussed this program a couple of times and some potential changes to it at your last meeting. You tossed out a handful of different ideas on what we could do, with the idea of retaining the spirit of the program, highlighting artists and uplifting them in Eureka, but really figuring out ways to focus our energy and how best to highlight artists and the activities that they're doing. So based on your feedback, we put together some recommendations for how to change this program. But before we get into that, I want to give you a little bit of the background in case you may not be familiar or somebody from the public is watching this. So currently the program selects 12 artists per year, one per month. You come together and select them typically quarterly, although this year we did some special meetings, so that didn't happen. And then the mayor selects the artist of the year from this pool of 12 artists the following year. And as a reminder, there are some nomination criteria currently in existence for this. To be nominated as an artist of the month, you need to be either a member of the community that's been nominated via the official form, be an artist that has completed a utility art box or have participated in the Eureka Street Art Festival, or be nominated by the Arts and Culture Commission. And then we also have some criteria for selection. And there are quite a few of them, so I'm going to kind of breeze through them since they're pretty familiar to you, but they are also in your packet if you need to refer to them. So criteria is a small new startup artist that could use help with publicity, is a unique or innovative artist that could put Eureka on the map, deserves to be recognized for outstanding contribution to the community. 4, has initiated outstanding partnerships, collaboration, and or joint marketing with other artists and or organizations. 5, consistently promotes and markets Eureka's art community in a positive light with efforts that reach beyond our region. 6, has displayed art or performed in prominent galleries or venues outside of Eureka. 7, demonstrates creativity and imagination in artistic expression. 8, has created a new and innovative form of art or has pushed an existing medium to new levels. And 9, is a significant contributor to Arts Alive and other art-related events in Eureka. And the Artist of the Month shall meet at least 1 criterion from the list above, and Artist of the Year shall meet at least 2 criteria. So that's kind of an overview of the program as it currently exists. And we're recommending a couple of changes, primarily rebranding this to an artist spotlight program instead of artist of the month, because we are proposing to not select an artist of the month and instead to select 4 artists at the beginning of the year to promote simultaneously throughout the year. The mayor would still retain selection of artist of the year at the end of the year, like she or he has been doing. And we are proposing to start this new program at the beginning of 2025, so that you would come together in your first meeting in 2025 and select your 4 artists for the year, and then we would work on promoting them. So with that, I think it's time for you to discuss, give me your feedback, thoughts. You are welcome to, this is just what I sort of took away as what I thought was really feasible for us to do and cohesive. But like, if you have like thoughts, it's at your discretion what recommendations you want to make. But I do have some suggested language when you're ready.
I like the name of it. I like that artist spotlight.
Yeah, I think given that, the artists who have been selected for Artist of the Month over the last few years often didn't know that they were Artist of the Month until we invited them to the Artist of the Year, in the awards meeting. I think this is great. Love the idea of less expectation on our city staff doing the work. That said, also, like, if there's anything that we can be helping do, that there's posts going out about it, you can shoot us out an email so we can keep an eye out and be able to share it out and really spotlight the artists that we're trying to spotlight. I think any of us that are on social media, I'm sure, would be happy to help do that.
Yeah, I also think that, this is an excellent overhaul. And also, I think it's very relevant too, because I see a sort of symbiotic process emerging here, right? Particularly with the Visit California Center now in place here. Because, as we look at the criteria for these artists, right? The idea is that we're not only promoting them, but they are promoting Eureka, right? And I think that transitioning this to these artist spotlight model allows us to, like, staff to not just put less of a burden on you, but the work you are doing is more relevant to not only promoting the artist, but also promoting Eureka as an arts friendly town and a wonderful cultural place to visit, rather than being like, oh God, I need to get that mug printed and ordered before Friday, which will probably go in an artist's cupboard and never be taken out again. So yeah, I think this is great.
Good point.
I love this. I think this is great. The only question I have for us, as well as city staff, the picking 4 at the beginning of the year in December, in our first meeting, I guess that's the only thing that I have. Do we need some consideration on, because we don't know yet if what they're gonna be doing that year, or are we, like, the idea of spotlighting artists, I think is fabulous, because I agree with what Commissioner Topping had brought up, that, like, it didn't seem to happen as much as it could have, and a lot of that is there were so many of them and so few of you. But picking all 4 at the same time, is that the goal, to make it easier on this, or more relevant and feasible to do the spotlighting? Or
That's a great question. Yes, the idea would be to pick the 4 artists at the same time, and then be able to construct, promote, like, have time to really cross promote with them and promote them throughout the year, right? The spotlight would be on all 4 of them for the year. So as they do events, as they have things happening, we can reshare that on our social media pages. We can create some social media posts. We can work on creating media around them. The idea with this model was also that however much the commission wanted to participate in promoting the artist, they could join in on that if they wanted to. It gave us a year to really spend time on fewer artists and highlighting them.
Okay. Well, and then I think we also need to, as commissioners, if we're bringing names to that list, bring more data. Like, I mean, can we share website links and things beforehand, or is that a Brown Act issue? You see where I'm headed? Like,
Yes.
yeah.
It would, to share with the whole commission information via email would be a Brown Act issue, but you're all welcome to share information with me.
Okay.
And I can make sure that we get it out in a way that meets the Brown Act.
Okay. So if we get stuff to you, it can be distributed to us in
Yes,
advance.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll make sure it's a part of the public record in a way that is appropriate. So that'll be fine. We can also still completely do the mugs if that is the commission's interest. That don't intend to take that off the table unless that you don't want to do that this year. But there's the opportunity to think about it and figure out if you want that to be a part of the celebration for the year.
If I may, I was wondering for myself to kind of go to what you were saying. I think what I would, if we're picking them at the beginning of the year, it would be in our best interest to try to go to any events that they have in the previous year, so that we know what they're up to. And then choose them, talk to them hopefully by the end of the previous year. So, for example, talk to them in November, December of 2024 and say, what do y'all think you're going to do in 2025? Yikes. And to help us, do you have a show that you're going to put up? Or do you have a concert series you're going to host, or whatever it is that we're going to do? That's how I would approach being able to choose those first four for the year. I also appreciate that we've always wanted to ensure that people are recognized monthly, but I think, like I said before in our last meeting, it's more meaningful to put our energy behind a few, because they are, as Calder said, representing us just as much as we're supporting them. And having that relationship is very important, because we are an arts and culture community, and that it is thriving. So why not share that with the state and beyond? So thank you for your work on this to make it a meaningful and interactive engagement with our local artists. Thank you.
I had one other thought that I didn't include in the staff report or in the official program change, because our policy, our program as it's written, doesn't explicitly say you can't reselect artists that have already been selected. And even before we had an artist of the month, we had an artist of a year that we were doing. So it may be worth considering for the commission, not as a part of or you could if you wanted to build it specifically into the program, but when you're thinking about artists and the various levels of recognition they've received, it would be potentially worthwhile to reconsider some of the folks who have received an artist of the month or artist of the year in the past.
I would agree with that. I mean, I think that it would be, on both sides, I think it would be potentially problematic to not do that, because on the one hand, I could see some people being potentially unreasonably bitter that they were like, oh, well, I got a mug and this other artist got like a whole year worth of like really in-depth promotion because the program just changed and I didn't qualify. So I think there's that end of it. Plus, too, I mean, in the end, on the other perspective of like choosing artists that we really feel are representing Eureka to the highest degree possible, there are a lot of people in that old category that probably should be given consideration for that as well. So I agree with that take and would support that.
I would like to say maybe we should make it a Stein or a vase. Maybe, it's just to kind of kick it up a notch and pour mugs. But we have some awesome glass blowers locally, and wouldn't that be a treat? Maybe a float, the glass net floats. How cool would that be to work with an artist, a glass blowing artist, and have a net float for people or something? So I hear you, Calder. It sounds like that mug's still in your cupboard somewhere.
I just know we've all accumulated a lot of mugs over the years.
So I will defend the mug only because we have had local artists design them, and at least these are earned mugs. They're not
And
just
they look
like,
so pretty with the
you know,
flowers in them. when
they
were
are. They're so
presented.
pretty. Totally functional. I love me some utilitarian, like not just collecting dust stuff. But also, perhaps if we are only doing 4 people a year, this gives us the opportunity to explore just something different. Something different that collects more dust. Actually, I want to put out as well, since Leslie Castellano wasn't able to be here today as the representative of the Ink people, so I'm going to wear that hat as well. I'd like to put out that anything that the city is doing to promote any of the artists that are being spotlighted, let's make sure that we're sharing that also with the Ink people so that we can be putting that out as well as the city's art and culture nonprofit. We have our own email list and our, folks doing social media for us and things. So, let's partner on that to get it even more out there.
Absolutely.
Oh, sorry. I just said something silly about bees and cross-pollination, and bees are smart. Thank you. Sorry. I would like to make a motion. I move.
Do we
Are
want
we
to
done?
get
Oh, sorry.
public comment?
Public comment.
Is there any public comment?
And there's no one online, so except for staff.
Okay.
Hi, staff.
Okay, go ahead.
I move that the Art and Culture Commission approve the proposed changes to transition the Artist of the Month program to the Artist Spotlight program in 2025 and recommend City Council approval.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, that motion carries. 3B, Artist of the Month.
All right. So to continue our discussion, now we need to figure out what we're doing with 2024. And I'm going to be pretty brief because we've been talking about Artist of the Month. So normally I would give you background on the program, but we've already had that background. So if folks are tuning in just for this item, go back and see item 3A for a discussion of the program. This year, you, at the beginning of the year, selected 4 artists for January, February, March, and April. And then the rest of the year got away from us as we focused on some other art programs and other things that we brought before you in special meetings. So now it is up to you whether or not you would like to select 8 artists to round out the full 12 for the year, picking May through December of 2024. Or you could direct us to just focus the promotion on the 4 that have been selected for the remaining couple of months for the year. And once and I think this would be a good time for questions, then we can do public comment and then discussion. And I have, if you want to go the route of nominating artists, I have the nomination list for you and some additional information. But if you want to go directly towards focusing on the 4, I have some suggested language for that too, depending on where you decide to go.
Thank you. My concern looking at the list that we have selected so far is that while I know many of these folks personally and they're all wonderful and incredible, they're some of them in particular are not necessarily terribly Eureka based, which certainly is something that hasn't stopped us in the past. I think that's fine, but particularly if we're really trying to now emphasize spotlighting artists as a way of not just spotlighting them, but highlighting the community of Eureka specifically. I don't know. I feel like maybe we should go back to the drawing board for 2025 and revisit of the people either in the list, either previous winners or in the inventory who not only is most deserving, but also best fulfills highlighting what's happening in Eureka.
I agree. I actually had some of similar thoughts. And so I would also question, as much as it would be great to, we have 4, we can just use this 4. Are there people out there that are thinking, well, this program used to be this way. Do we want to change it on them now, or do we want to wait? And we've just decided we're changing that for December 2025. Do we go ahead and pick 8 more for 2024?
I would like to know, when you say, like, let's say if we pick these 4 and focus on them, what does that mean?
So you've already selected these 4 as Artist of the Month. So if you were to not select Artist of the Month for May through December, I think we would just really make sure that we do a little bit of promotion of the Artist of the Month on social media and in the newsletter for them, like we typically would. And then it wouldn't be a full-on artist spotlight program, but it would be more just making sure that we talk to these artists and get them promoted in the next 3 months.
I mean, I think that could be a good lead into next year. It could be good for the staff to sort of get a sense of what you might be doing, and even be good for us to, sort of feel out how this might work and how we might look at artists, even so much as what was just brought up. My point of view is looking at these 4 artists as sort of a practice run, and getting a chance to think about how it could work really well, sort of oil the machine, get going for next year. That's my point on it.
I would actually like to stir the pot and make a mess of it. And sorry about that. I have had the opportunity recently to be able to attend some fantastic plays at the North Coast Rep and the Redwood Curtain. So much so that they, in my mind, have moved discussion into community. One play was Wasatumadak, and the second was, I'm not going to remember the name, but was directed by Deanna, and had that discussion about racism in community and in everyday life. And anyway, and obviously Sweeney Todd rocked, but I wanted to throw them into the mix because I think that partnership between those 2 theaters have allowed them to thrive in a way that theater needs to thrive, and the things that they're partnering on, I think, have a meaningful message in our community and allows us to have conversations around activities and things in our community that are important. So
But I'm not sure what you're saying. I mean,
I'd
so
like
maybe
to
that
nominate.
would be perfect for starting for one of the, for
One of the
2025.
options. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if we're doing the first 4 there and kind of leaving them in, I'm going to put in North Coast Rep and Redwood Curtain Theater as number 5 option to choose from. That would be a nomination for me if that's what we're doing right now. Thank you.
What I'm saying, though, is if you think that they're that outstanding, maybe they could be nominated for 2025, where they're really going to get promoted.
Susan?
Oh.
I have a hard time picking up.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm turning my head. Anyway, either way.
Yes, I would nominate them for the 20. Oh, so you're saying keep these for the 2024, finish out the year, and then throw them into the 2025 pot.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
That's one option. Okay, understood. Thank you.
Yeah, it sounds like this so far. Most of us seem to be saying like finish off the year and then start fresh in 2025. which I kind of also hate doing because I know that's more stuff for you to do, staff. But yeah, it does seem like that's kind of what I'm getting so far. And of course, Marnie, thank you for the very kind words. And I would obviously have to recuse myself from any kind of decision regarding that nomination.
So do you want to see the nominee list that we have so far to help you in that vein?
And are these nominees that have been generated from meetings as well as public nominations?
This is the nomination list that we sort of retain and keep and show you every time based on the criteria that are in place. Former street art festival artists, former utility box artists.
But have they been nominated in the past and they just didn't make the list, or?
So with the way our nomination criteria works, you could either be nominated by an art and culture commissioner.
Right, I understand all of that. But what I'm asking is, have these people been nominated by one of those criteria? Or are they just on that list because they did one of these things?
Both. Being a utility box artist or a street art festival artist puts you on the nomination list.
So they were not selected as an artist of the month yet. They were
that
they're
wasn't my question.
nominated as a possibility.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. Sorry, I wasn't understanding that.
Well, no, but so I'm trying to figure out if they were actually nominated or they were just generated onto that list because they participated in a thing that is in the criteria. Those are two very different ways of being, and so that's what I'm trying to discern, and I don't know if people are understanding.
I understand.
Yeah.
I can answer. I would say the majority of the list came from that criteria, like, the street art festival artists, the utility box artists. There have been a handful of nominations that have come in, usually from commissioners during the meetings, and then those artists are chosen. We did receive one nomination through our online form that was added to this for Kyle Saunders, which Sarah added and highlighted. But I think most of these are folks that came from the criteria and not from nominations received.
Has this year's street art festival been added to this list?
That's a great point. No, I did not add them into this list. However, I think most of them are reoccurring, so they might have been previously added.
I would have. There's someone's name not up there that I would be nominating if we were doing 8 more for the year. Otherwise, I'll hold off and wait till 2025.
You can nominate.
So
You can nominate right now.
well, Jose Moreno. I think I've been watching him for a couple of years.
Was a previous artist of the month,
Was he?
Yeah.
Okay.
so he could be
But he
considered
could be
in the 25,
nominated
25,
again.
yes.
So he was in the Street Art Festival this year. He's done in I think it was 2019. He did the 17 or 19 fauna on the pillar posts on the footpath behind the Ingomar, which are in need of some love right now. I walk that pretty regularly, and it's taken a beating. And I participated in, I think, the monster drawing project with him. It was really fun to watch him work. Yeah, he's.
I'm sorry, I misspoke. He was not an artist of the month, but he is on the nomination.
Yeah, I was
list.
very confused for a second. I was like, but he's
there
right
he is.
on there. Like, am I just having a stroke right now? Like, what's
No, I
up?
just didn't bring my glasses today.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Jose should, if we're adding 8 folks today to, to give love to through the rest of this year, definitely Jose should be on there. I would like, and Calder, not to like put you on the spot here, but one media that we know has been a challenge to give a lot of love to has been performing arts. I think that I totally appreciate that Marnie brought up these the performances at the theater, but I'd like to see some more performing artists be added to this list. And obviously local theater is not the only performing art out there. And actually I have someone that I would nominate as well. But I want to just kind of plant that with you because I think that we're really, the majority of this list is visual arts, which is awesome. That is a thing we absolutely excel at around here, but we also excel at a lot other than that as well. Oh, writing and poetry. Yeah. Dance, performance, everything from drag and burlesque, that's a very active scene right now. It probably has been, but I've just been seeing a lot more of it lately. So actually, I would like to throw out a nomination for Olivia Gambino, who is this year's Rutabaga Queen and also a really incredible burlesque performer and very, very active in the local community, supporting other artists as well as doing her own work.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend her as well. Also, just to follow up on your question, if we're going to consider some other non-visual artists or at least different mediums, I would recommend Cassandra Hesseltine.
Absolutely.
Who is not only obviously the Del Norte and Humboldt County Film Commissioner, which is a huge deal, but she is very active with Redwood Curtain, not only as a performer, but also as a director, which are also artists, even if they're very, just behind the scenes. So I would throw her out there.
So the question is, are we stockpiling these names for 2025 and we're going to have a battle royale? Or are we going for 8 more for 2024?
I thought we were just going for 8 more for right now, just get that done, and then we can think about 2025. And then certainly I think like all of these, 2025 seems like just open the floodgates and just reconsider everybody at that point. But as far as just getting, at least my impression was we were just trying to get 8 for right now.
Okay. And I believe this is our last meeting of this year, so we need to get that 8 today, correct? Okay.
With a hat tip to Marnie, I would like to put Deanna Lovu on that list. Last name is Ndlovu. I believe it was the black card. No,
The
white
white
card.
card.
Sorry. Yes. I know I was going to get that in the wrong direction. But directed, a performance that was at NCRT and also very involved in local cultural scene as well.
Just since we're on public record too, it was technically a Redwood Curtain performance at the 5th and D Street Theater. That's how we officially brand everything.
Which is why you get to add more people to this list.
So if you're keeping score, we have 4 names and we need 8 names.
Oh, can we go back to the list?
So the 4 are...
Olivia Gambino, Jose Moreno, Cassandra Hesseltine, and Deanna Can you spell that again for us, please?
Ndlovu.
Thank you.
I believe it's pronounced Lovu. Can we see the first half of the nomination list? Thank you.
I didn't realize. Yeah, it's poetry. David Holper. We could include some poetry there for sure.
That's a different list than I took a picture of before. Just wanted to, okay,
I think that was the second half of the list that was up before. What is Carl's last name that did the overpass mural?
Carl Avery.
Thank you.
And I think he was chosen as an artist of the month before, but I could be mistaken.
On a quick look, I'm not seeing him over here.
Okay. He would be lovely.
So I want to add Carl to that. Carl Avery.
Hey, right, with a K, right?
Carl.
Have Young and Lovely ever been nominated?
Young and Lovely were not. Amber Soul we got in for last year, right about the time they were wrapping up,
Okay. Oh, that's right.
but not inappropriate.
But definitely, yeah, finding a musician would kind of help us round out our our whirlwind tour of all of the various art mediums.
So I'd like to nominate Young and Lovely. They are Eureka based. They've been very active, very, very active in the last 2 years.
Yeah, load them up with those mugs.
So I have 7 artists at the moment.
Okay.
Olivia Gambino, Jose Moreno, Cassandra Hesseltine, Diana Lovu, David Holper, Carl Avery, and Young and Lovely.
Commissioner Atkins not nominate the theater itself?
I think I did, but
I
think,
have it written down that she nominated North Coast.
yeah,
Rep
but
as-
it sounds like folks want to wait until next year to consider them.
Okay,
So
I just wanted to
I'm
make
o-
sure because
I'm
it was
okay with
listed. I had 8, she has 7.
Yeah.
Just making sure we're writing the same things down.
Does that sound like what you all want to do is to wait until 2025 for that?
Not that I don't think all of these artists deserve like a spotlight throughout the year. That seems particularly appropriate to be part of that first batch of the artist spotlight, in my opinion.
Okay. I'm fine with that, to wait. So we still have 7 then and need one more.
Has anyone discussed, is it Linda Mitchell opened a gallery in Old Town this year?
Solid. That's a good option.
I mean, someone who's
Yeah.
opening a venue is always appreciated. We
No,
all
for
know
sure.
how thankless that
Active
can be.
artist promoting other artists in Eureka.
Mhm.
I'd support it. I think that's 8. And now, who's the lucky person who's going to say that motion?
Sure.
Trying to get them all.
If I can move, can I nominate Sarah to fill in the blanks when I get to that part?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was saying, like, no, this is the memory test portion of the meeting.
Yeah, I can't do that part.
Have to give them a month. You can just, it just says,
May through December. Love that. Where they may fall. Okay. I move that the Art and Culture Commission select
Olivia Gambino, Jose Moreno, Cassandra Hesseltine, Diana Lovu, David Holper, Carl Avery, Young and Lovely, and Linda Mitchell.
as the Artist of the Month from May through December of 2024.
and you're going to get to do it again because nobody opened public comment.
I just had like, oh God, like I should have
because
just raised my hand there. I was like, wait, no, I think we forgot something.
That was a practice run. We're going to
I
be really
thought
good at
because
it.
no one was online, we didn't have to, we still have to
Still
say
got to
it?
do it.
We'll have to say that it's open
Okay, okay.
because legally we have to say that it's open.
Okay.
Even though there's nobody here and we know there's nobody.
Just in case someone pops out of
All
the
right,
floor,
is there any
out of the ceiling
public
ducts.
comment?
back and say, but you didn't ask.
Yeah.
Because there was nobody here, but we still
Yeah.
are required to ask.
Yep.
So
Is
Makes
there
sense.
any
For the
public
rules, Jess.
comment?
Take 2.
Take two.
All right. I move that the Art and Culture Commission select
Olivia Gambino, Jose Moreno, Cassandra Hesseltine, Diana Lovu, David Holper, Carl Avery, Young and Lovely, Linda Mitchell.
as the Artist of the Month for May through December of 2024.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, the motion of these 8 artists is carried. I do have a question or just clarification. So are we saying that in 2025, we are only going to pick Eureka artists? And that means that they live in Eureka or they work in Eureka? significantly work or perform or exhibit in Eureka? Is that what we're saying?
I'm
So-
down with that.
To clarify, we didn't propose changing any of the program criteria or nomination criteria. So technically, you're still using the criteria that has existed, but it is very Eureka centric in how it's laid out in promoting Eureka. So I think that will guide you in what you're talking about.
Yeah, that was my impression too, that we were using the same criteria. Just, I think my recommendation was just that like we focus on those criteria that were particularly Eureka centric.
Well, and if we have more than 4, we can battle it down using that Eureka-centric model as well.
Okay.
I would also like to request that city staff bring buffers to our first meeting of 2025 so that we can fight it out safely.
Yeah, it's a long-standing tradition of trial by combat. Yes.
I think I might have enough helmets for all of us too. They won't match, but
I really actually want a follow-up question on that, actually. Why do you have so many helmets?
I do lots of costuming.
Okay.
For fun, if everybody came with their own buffer that they had, taped up themselves, so we know which kind of blades you're all using.
Right, and also like the decoration and like it's the artistic, decorating of your boffer that's part of the judgment.
So I would like to borrow Bernadette's COVID helmet.
That is still in action and only slightly damaged from its last use.
Appropriate.
So many follow-up questions, but we could probably move on.
There's a video for that.
Okay. 4, new business.
New business. Could you please tell us about your COVID helmet?
5, reports and communications. 5A, Eureka Cultural Arts District update.
Okay, so I'm going to keep this short and sweet. Just working to keep you apprised since the Eureka Cultural Arts District is now much more active than it used to be. So since we last spoke about it, just as a reminder, the city of Eureka signed an MOU with the Wiyot Tribe, with Eureka Main Street, and with the Ink People Center for the Arts to work collaboratively on supporting the Cultural Arts District for Eureka. And there's a pot of money that was given to the Cultural Arts District as a grant. And now there is a leadership council in place to help decide how that money is going to be allocated. The Leadership Council had its first meeting a couple weeks ago, probably 4 weeks ago now. And then they also had a training. They are a Brown Act body. And these are all folks who are not necessarily well versed in the Brown Act body processes. So we went through a training, and then we have our next meeting coming up in November. And so I think now that we've got our feet under us, I think we'll start seeing a little bit more in the way of like thinking about programs.
Can I add to that there's a manager hired for Eureka Cultural Arts District. So Vahan Petrosian, who has a lot of experience in organizing and administering projects, was hired for that. And he's working currently out of the space that is being used for the Brenda Tuxford Gallery at 422 First Street. He's there most days, so if anyone needs to have any ECAD conversations with him, that's one way to do it.
Thank you for sharing that. A lot of folks here are a part of these discussions, so if anybody else has more to add, please do.
I was going to ask who is on the leadership committee, please.
Oh, it is, I believe, 21 folks, and I don't have the list in front of me. But I'd be happy to share that list with you.
If you were super curious, I can also pull it up probably pretty quickly.
And I want to add that Bernadette and Sarah are representing the city interest on that committee.
B, Caltrans Clean California Grant Projects Update.
Okay. So this one, you've heard about some of our Clean California grants with Caltrans before, so I just wanted to keep you apprised of where we're at. We are still working on utility boxes. It has not gone as quickly as we would hope, but that is still an ongoing process that we're working on with Caltrans. And then something that is exciting that's about to be is going to be breaking ground wouldn't be the right word, but is happening. You'll see a visual change very soon. Is that on the Samoa Bridge, the pillars that have murals on them from the Street Art Festival 3 years ago, each of them are a different color. And so we have a Clean California grant to spotlight the pillars at night in correlating colors. And so that will happen shortly. We're excited about that.
Oral communications? No one? Okay, adjournment. The next meeting of the Eureka Art and Culture Commission meeting is January 21st, 2025 at 12:30, and this meeting ends at 1:19.